Hello everyone and welcome back to Triple Gaming with me, Fletcher. And today I'm going to give a very quick rundown on the stream that Frontier had on their Twitch and on their YouTube, and give me a few thoughts on what we learned, if anything, about JWE2. But before we get into that, please consider liking the video, and don't forget that if you're new here, please subscribe for more from Triple Gaming. So, on to the video. The 1 hour or so stream on Friday didn't give us much new stuff to go over, and they were quite avoidant on answering questions or talking about certain topics, but there were some interesting points to discuss. Firstly, I think it's very positive that the development team has been working on 4 core features, that being advanced creativity, deeper management, realistic dinosaurs, and an original narrative. These were all areas of Jurassic World 1 that were badly in need of further work. Most of the main criticisms I have about JWE1 could probably be divided into those 4 categories, so it's good that we have confirmation that they were working on those directly. It's also promising that they were determined to make larger leaps in the development as opposed to small incremental upgrades. On the whole, it sounds like they've taken a lot of the criticism from JWE1 on board and used it to guide their development, which is all good. It sounds very promising. Talking specifically about the new narrative the game will feature, they made it very clear that the new story is completely original, set after the events of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, around perhaps 5 or 10 years after. They were a bit shady on the length of time. They also mentioned that part of this narrative was the switching of the gameplay from basic park building to more nuanced gameplay, focused on facilities and the dinosaurs' welfare, and most likely building heavily off the Claire Sanctuary DLC. We did also have it confirmed that Cabot Finch will be returning as a character. Although not my favourite character, I think it's good that we have a link back to JWE1 in Finch. I look forward to seeing how he annoys me this time. Moving on, they once more confirmed the 4 game modes that we will have in game, that being the narrative campaign, the chaos theory mode, which they stubbornly refused to answer questions on, the challenge mode, and the sandbox mode. They have stated they had been making changes to challenge mode to make it more interesting. I'll be interested to see what that entails, because challenge mode for me was probably the worst thing that they added to JWE1, so I'll be curious to see what they're going to do with it this time round. They addressed the aviary, confirming once again that the system will be modular and expandable with additional domes, including specialised domes for viewing galleries and for hatcheries. That was about all they were willing to say there, so not much of new information there. They also discussed a bit how they were making the animals for the game in regards to remaking all the models from the ground up and resizing them with new information and new textures and new behaviours. It all sounds really positive. Makes me a bit less concerned that we're going to have copy-pasted Jurassic World Evolution 1 content, but again, we need to see all this in game. We then got to see the Amargasaurus species guide, which I'll be doing a separate video on with my own thoughts, and the rest of the stream was more or less a retread of the details in the feature focus. Creating dinosaurs will apparently be done in the same way as JWE, and that still doesn't seem to make much sense to me. Why would you go and collect fossils when the world is apparently in a massive crisis about real dinosaurs being in the wild? It seems a bit weird. I hope that they do actually explain the reasons for us sending fossil teams off in the narrative campaign, just to explain why we're bothering. And they discussed a bit about the genetic system coming back and the clutch creation and incubation of multiple eggs from a single clutch of eggs. They also slightly discussed the way that live and wild dinosaurs will be available at points in the game modes using narrative events and trigger events, but again they kept a lot of details to themselves. They discussed a bit about paleobotany, which was confirmed to be a core part of the game now, with all herbivores having to eat prehistoric plant types to survive, and those paleo plants will be apparently available as brushes. We did also have it confirmed that plants won't need to be replaced, thank God, so we won't have to be sending out rangers persistently to go and refill feeders or replant trees for our herbivores. But I'm still curious to find out what they're going to do about the carnivores, because you can't really grow a goat or a cow in the dirt, so obviously they're going to have some sort of feeding system. And that was about it. We really didn't get that much more. And they were very careful to avoid giving anything away. I think by the sounds of it, the direction they have going into this is quite positive, but I would say we still need to see all this in-game directly. I wouldn't say I'm hyped yet, but I'm curious, and I would leave it at that. Perhaps I should have a graph for future videos on JWE2 where I can just plot my level of hype or interest. Let's say I'm slightly less pessimistic. But what did the rest of you think? What did you think of the stream? Let me know in the comments below with any thoughts and comments you had. And as always, sorry, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more from us from Tricle Gaming. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.